The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is September 25th, 2020, episode 247. And today, American Satan. And I'm not Mr. Roboto, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast where we love Jesus. And what else, Basil?
Oh my gosh, Gonz. Today's news with the Canary Cry views.
Oh yeah, that too. But also, we love Jesus.
Back on the tagline train.
I know, I'm trying to mix it up, but also keep it the same.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, we're back. We're both a little sleepy today, but that's okay. We will forge ahead.
I'm goofy. I feel goofy because of what we just watched right before we got in here, and I'm just thrilled. And
we've got a real treat for everybody coming up.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, but until then, Gonz, how you doing? Any updates from last episode?
No. The Hear the Watchmen conference is going on right now, so anybody who wants to jump on that, I think it's all live stream, and then I think once, even if you miss the actual days of the live streamed presentations, you can still access the archives for I can't remember how long. Yeah, so hearthewatchmen.com. I think Shimura 20 still works, but I mean, might as well give it a shot if you're interested.
20% off. That's not nothing, man.
I know. That's something. It's 20% off.
Very good.
Yep.
It is exactly something.
It is.
Well, that's cool. Yep. Hear the Watchmen conference, great conferences, before all the COVID nonsense. We slid in there last September. Got to hit the one down in Orange County, and now they're all digital. So we recommend everybody jump in there. It's just good. It's good to get caught up, get connected with the brand new research and presentations and things like that coming out. Of course, we try to stay up to date across the board, but these conferences, good way to meet people like you. Networking, baby.
Yeah, and those of you who were there last year know that Basil has a real face.
I do. I have a real face. I wasn't even wearing a virtual reality. I wasn't wandering around a hotel ballroom in a virtual reality helmet.
Although you threw me off. You threw me off a little bit because I was giving my presentation, and then you walked in and made a very loud entrance into the room.
I gotta make sure everybody knows I'm there,
The problem is, most people don't know who you are just based on how you look.
Just this crazy guy with a fake
just this
beard.
Guy.
And,
walking in.
A Hawaiian shirt. Back when Hawaiian shirts weren't racist. It was a different time.
Yeah.
I had something crazy happen.
Oh, yeah. What's your crazy story?
Yeah, so, of course, I've got the Monties. Got some cats. The youngest little kitten, Monty, he got fixed yesterday.
Oh.
And we had a very traumatic experience.
Well, I bet.
When I picked him up, the vet let me know that he had an anesthetic event, which is a very kind way of saying they had a huge emergency. I already felt weird about getting him fixed. I just don't like the idea of it, but it's like a responsible thing to do. And he's like, well, he had an anesthetic event where suddenly, we gave him the gas, and suddenly his respiratory signals and his heartbeat got really, really low, really, really, really low, like imperceptible. I'm like, what? An imperceptible heartbeat. He basically was trying to very calmly tell me that he killed my cat while fixing it. He had a near-death experience.
Is
on
that
the table.
what? Okay, I think I know what was floating over me tonight because I kept hearing, or this morning, I kept hearing the just ringing in my head, and I was like, what? What do you want?
He saw the light. And then he came to haunt you. But don't worry, he's okay. Yes, he had an anesthetic event. They lost him for a second during a regular fixing. And yeah, pretty scary, pretty spooky. I didn't like that at all. It made me feel even more guilty about getting him fixed. And but they took him off the anesthetic and gave him some adrenaline or kitty meth or something. Brought him
Kitty
back.
meth.
But he's a little wacky, man. He hasn't quite recovered. I don't know. He's a little better today. Day by day, he keeps getting better. But I think he's seeing like double vision. Like he keeps running into walls. And what else? When I first got him back, he could like barely stand. And they said, oh, the anesthetic can make him really groggy. This is why I think they gave him adrenaline or something, because he was not groggy. He was running around like a crazy maniac when I got him home, but he like couldn't see. He has double vision. So he's like sprinting across the house and ramming headfirst into couches and stuff. So poor little guy, but he's recovering. But it was spooky. It was spooky.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Well, kind of. Just having to put down dogs in the last couple of years. It's a sad moment. And when you have to do that, I mean, this is a little different because you weren't holding your cat when it all went down, but
yeah,
at least he's okay.
Ketamine and Valium. He said they call it Ketaval. So
isn't
go.
ketamine like horse tranquilizer?
They use it for animal anesthetics. Yeah, animal tranquilizers.
So pray for Basil's cat.
It just kind of happens. Yeah, he might be kind of derpy forever now. I don't know. They say he'll recover, but he's kind of funny. He can. I don't know. It's silly, but that was spooky.
Yikes.
So there's my personal news since the last episode.
All right.
Okay, you want to get into the show?
Let's do it. Hold on. Yes. Distracted. Wife texts me now.
Oh
okay,
gosh.
Here we go.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, a little quick Flippy update here for everybody. If you're new to the show, the Flippy update. Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use it as a conversation piece, a proxy conversation. Talk about how robots and AI are making their way into our lives, whether we like it or not, and how we can fight back. Today, Gons, we're coming from digitaltrends.com. And the headline reads, Meet RXT1, the robot punching bag that punches back.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, yeah. Everyone's a tough guy in the gym until their punching bag starts punching back. And that's the idea between RXT1, described by its creators as the world's first sparring robot. While it more closely resembles a punchy version of the wacky waving inflatable tube man than a robot Mike Tyson, the RXT1 could nonetheless be a valuable tool in training boxers and MMA fighters. It does this by not just giving them an approximately person-sized target to aim punches at, but also 4 foam robot limbs, which it uses to strike back, thereby giving the human fighter something to dodge. Quote, when I started developing the RXT1, I noticed a void in technology in the combat sports industry. Creator Brent Verdiales told Digital Trends, quote, the equipment they are currently using is archaic and has been used for thousands of years. They are good for developing power and speed, but nothing was made to simulate an actual fighter or a striking coach. I wanted to develop both in one system. Verdiales said that he didn't come from an orthodox robotics background. Orthodox robotics background sounds like some sort of high robotics church.
Yeah.
He learned about electronics and engineering from working in the military as a special forces engineer. Quote, after a wrist injury, I could no longer strike a punching bag or focus mitts, he said, because my job, I still needed to keep my combat skills sharp and wanted to make an in-home sparring partner and striking coach to work on my combinations. I started researching and testing a robotic arm that could simulate a strike. After 6 months of developing, I finally made the RXT1 come to life. it's alive. There are 3 training modes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there you go. Let's see. It's a Kickstarter campaign. You can get in base level for $699. And if you want it with a torso, you got to have $899. So there you go. Shipping in February, folks. So I thought this was funny. And first, my first instinct was like, uh-oh, we're training the robots to fight. We don't want boxing robots. They're going to learn our methods, our techniques, and use them against us. But then I realized this is much more effective for training humans to fight robots. So if you're planning on joining the resistance when Skynet takes over, we might need to start training with these little guys.
Yeah, although it looks like kind of, because the pieces that come at you, they're kind of flimsy foam rods, I guess, foam sticks, and they look kind of weak.
Yeah,
but replace those with batons and
yeah, that's just the beginner version. You start with the foam, and then you upgrade to katanas, and that's how you once you get good enough and you're almost ready to hit the actual robot battlefield, you've got some upgrades you can up the stakes with. But there you go. It's a rather simple robot, but I don't know anything about boxing. Maybe I should get one of these things.
Maybe you should, to learn how to fight back.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. We just need to know how to defeat our robot overlords.
Yeah. All right. Good Flippy update.
Okay.
Got a bunch of brief updates that we got to go through here. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We interrupt this broadcast to give you a brief update. By the end of this timely interruption, you will be thoroughly updated.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Of course, 33 being a signaling number of the elite. They always use it in all kinds of headlines and stories. Yep. This one from Wabi TV, or Wabi.tv. Maine CDC reports 44 new COVID-19 cases, 33 recoveries.
Ooh, that sounds like a good message. They're trying to signal the recovery before the second wave.
Yeah, they're trying to move it the other direction. This one was a little bit more interesting. This is PR Newswire, which is sort of like a PR outlet. NWN supports spinal cord injury recovery as 33 Foundation hosts annual fundraiser.
33 Foundation?
So when I first read this, I was like, 33 foundations are supporting this? No, it's the name of the actual foundation.
What is this 33
NWN,
Foundation?
a leading provider of technology-enabled services, will be supporting those who are recovering from spinal cord injuries by sponsoring the 33 Foundation's 11th annual fundraiser and golf tournament.
Ooh,
the 33,
sinister.
Yeah, which, interestingly, the spinal cord injury topic, the last Flippy update was a robot arm that, fixed a spine. So just kind of keeping with the theme here. The 33 Foundation was founded by Matt Curran, a former Providence College Division I hockey player who suffered a major spinal cord injury after falling from a roof when he was 21 years old in 2001. And yada, yada, yada. He founded the 33 Foundation. So I don't know if he's getting something, somebody whispering in his ear or what.
Yeah, what is the meaning? What is the meaning of this?
I don't know. I looked into it a little bit. I didn't spend too much time, but I couldn't find any exact reference to why it's the 33 Foundation. But there is a foundation out there called 33 Foundation.
Watch out, folks.
Watch out. And we got a short new jingle here. I think it's apropos for today's episode with a couple different stories that we have. But this first, or actually, no, not stories, artwork that we have. But this one is, I thought it was kind of sad, but also very Russian.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
Reuters.com.
Whose voice is that?
That is, I just told you, Keith Oberman. What was his name? Yeah, I think it's Obermeyer, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, he used to be an anchor or something, and then he started his own show in his basement.
And he loves Russia. Just can't get enough of it. I'm seeing in the chat here a couple people, I have not verified this, but a couple of people are saying that there's 33 vertebrae in the
I've
spine.
heard this. Yeah, I think I've heard that. Yeah, maybe that's why.
That makes sense. All
That
these
makes sense.
spine references we've been seeing.
Yeah, which is another weird 33 thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so this story here. A young violinist's lonely mission to pressure Russia on ClimateGate. I felt bad for this guy, but also Russia is horrible. The young violinist holding a sign reading "Strike for Climate" on a Moscow square didn't have long to wait for the police to arrive. His one-man protest lasted just 30 minutes before he was detained this summer for the second Friday in a row. And
whoa, slow down there, freedom fighter.
The whole city's on lockdown. He inspired by Greta Thunberg, in late 2018, he stages political protests every week. But unlike the Swedish teenager who was galvanized a global movement of young environmentalists, or brainwashed a whole bunch of them, Russia's tough protest laws and people's general apathy towards activism has made the 26-year-old's campaign a lonely one.
You know, he's just not a cute little Swedish girl. That's the problem. Nobody wants to follow a 26-year-old Russian kid. You have to get a job, man.
He looks so depressed. He looks like one of those like folk rock artists or something. I don't know. But he's there.
Sure.
He's standing with a sign. I mean, but at the same time, I'm thinking, Russia. Let the man protest. It's a one-man protest.
Just let him do his
Just
thing.
let him hold a sign on the street without arresting him multiple times.
You know, they don't mess around in Russia.
I
Putin
guess
with his
not.
horse.
Yeah.
Just real quick, I keep going back to it, but Subdue Light in the YouTube chat is making a connection between the 33 and the vertebrae in the spine and the spinal damage that halted the vaccine
Oh,
trials.
yeah, that's right. Good
Wow.
connection.
I think we made the connection. Good job, Subdue Light. Thank you very much.
This is why we have a chat. We can't cover all the dots.
There's a lot of
or connect
valuable
them.
chat going on today.
That's good.
Okay, what's next?
Next, we have
A new world order can emerge. Demonic power!
This was published on WashingtonTimes.com. Archbishop Vigano. Trump faces biblical challenge against demonic forces of New World Order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Archbishop Vigano. Who is this?
I don't think we've covered him before, but
Yeah, he sounds familiar. He was making some big statements about a month or two back, I think.
yeah, it says here Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano said the 2020 presidential election presents Americans with a biblical challenge, quote, against the demonic forces of the deep state and against the New World Order. The Catholic Church's former apostolic nuncio to the U.S. once again warned voters that warring principalities unseen to the human eye will clash on Election Day. The Archbishop previously framed the political landscape to a battle between, quote, the children of light and the children of darkness in June. Quote, presidential elections in November represent an epochal challenge, a biblical challenge, the outcome of which will be decisive not only for the United States of America, but the whole world, he wrote in a letter offered but not read to Wednesday's National Catholic Prayer Breakfast. Quote, it's necessary that all of you Catholics of America are well aware of the role that province has deigned to entrust to your president, and that you are aware of the extraordinary battle that he is preparing to fight against the demonic forces of the deep state and the New World Order, the religious leader wrote. I am at your side with fervent prayer, together with millions of Catholics and with all people of goodwill throughout the world.
Wow.
So, yeah, kind of intense. I mean, this is...
he's an apocalyptic Catholic. You don't see a ton of those.
No, you don't. And it's weird because of how... I mean, there's always been a religious appeal with the conservative right and the Republican Party and the evangelicals and all that kind of stuff. But it's always been more dominionist, and like theocratic almost, not so much end times eschatological type of stuff. But I guess we're mainstream now. I mean, this kind of thinking, you know, when people are just bringing up demonic forces in the New World Order like it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is an interesting guy. Is he still an archbishop? Yeah. I think so. I don't know if once you have the title, it's gone or not, or you can lose it or keep it forever or whatever. But yeah, this guy's been speaking out, and he seems like he's, especially the Catholics get a lot of, often for good reason. They get a lot of guff, well, for many obvious reasons, but also for, of course, being involved in certain aspects of the New World Order. Of course, our current Pope, or the current Pope, not my current Pope, the current Pope is a big New World Order actor. I wonder if sounds like there's some trouble in paradise.
Paradise?
Yeah.
You mean the Vatican?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Well,
pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. All right. Next quick update here, which is about CRISPR Cas9.
CRISPR Cas9.
BizJournals.com. Unique local partnership creates CRISPR in a box to train next generation of genetic scientists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A Wilmington-based health system, a Delaware community college, and a Montgomery County life sciences company have teamed up to create an educational toolkit they are calling CRISPR in a box.
Uh-oh.
It's like a cereal box. Couple things here. The goal of the partnership is to help train the next generation of genetic scientists and technicians in the revolutionary CRISPR gene editing technology. CRISPR in a box is priced at $287 per unit plus shipping. They said for any life sciences company that wishes to buy a box and donate it to the school of its choosing, the institute will set up a Zoom call to instruct the teachers on how to use it. Yay.
Oh, good. Got to get Zoom in there.
Yeah. The box does not contain any live cultures or viruses. That's good. And the materials can't be used to manipulating living organisms. So it's just it's like, when you get the Legos, the big giant Legos for the little kiddies, before they go into like the real intricate ones.
Oh, sure. Yeah. The Duplo blocks.
Right.
It's the Duplo blocks of CRISPR.
Yeah. But they want a whole new generation of Nephilim creators out there.
Gotta start them young.
I know.
How else are you going to create a world full of chimeras if you don't get them started early on?
And this next story here, I included because somebody mentioned it in the chat. And again, we're not able to cover like every story out there. But when I see something and I look it up and I find interest in it, we will mention it. And this is actually, I guess it's Chinese news, which I just got rid of the jingle on my palette here. So I don't have it right there, but hold on, let me see here. Yes, okay, here we go. The story is from China. Can you do a Chinese news mock jingle?
No, because I'm a white man, and that's how I get canceled, Gons.
Who cares if we get canceled? We're already like mostly canceled.
Yes, hello, this is Chinese news.
I find that more offensive than if you actually tried to sound like a Chinese person. Okay, this is Gizmodo.com. Huawei R&D lab catches fire in Dongguan, China. So obviously Huawei, we know that there's been a lot of issues with Huawei, and they're basically spy technology all over the world, especially in America. Mm-hmm. And Trump's been kind of going after him, but interesting that they have a fire at the R&D lab. It looks like a pretty big one. This is like anytime there's fires with big business buildings and stuff, I don't really buy like
this
Wong
screams
put out a
of
cigarette
corporate espionage.
Yeah.
Especially Huawei being considered basically a national security threat deemed by Trump. And so, I would not. I'm sure the CIA has something to do with this.
Yeah, they probably got. They have immunity somehow. Somebody put out a cigarette.
They are the law.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just something to mention on the fly here because I found this story interesting. But my favorite update of the day is it's a hairy legs Biden update.
Got hairy legs.
Okay.
Got hairy
This
legs.
is great.
Yeah, a little
This is what we were laughing about before the show. It's hilarious. We will get a quick disclaimer. Joe has a bit of a potty mouth in this one. It's nothing too bad. I mean, it didn't even used to be a bad word. But if there's any, young people and you're, if you're a parent of a young person, you can use your discretion
Earmuffs.
here. But you can skip ahead 15 seconds if you need the earmuffs on.
Okay, so this is National Life or nationalfile.com. I need glasses, thicker ones. This is watch. Joe Biden calls the troops, quote, stupid bastards, end quote, in shocking video.
Just play it. Just play it.
Just play it. Okay, this happened on March 7th, 2016 at a speech at the Al Dafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates.
Notwithstanding what you may hear about me, I have incredibly good judgment. One, I married Jill. And two, I appointed Johnson to the academy. I just want you to know that. Just clap for that, you stupid bastards.
Oh my God.
Joe!
You can't call our troops that. He does this once in a while where he'll kind of go into like old man angry mode. With old guys, sometimes they'll just kind of lose their temper suddenly. And it's not like too bad, but you're like, whoa, okay. I see I was annoying you for a second. I had a couple old men in my life who would occasionally snap into this sort of mode out of nowhere. It's like the dog-faced pony soldier.
Yes.
Only different.
I think he was trying to appeal to the troops there, a little elbow jab at the troops, but it just came off as
locker room talk or something,
I guess, but just pretty funny. I listen. You got to listen to it a couple. We were only going to play it once because there's no point, but it
so
made
funny.
me laugh, brought joy to me because, man, the only thing you can do nowadays at politics is laugh because otherwise you just cry. You just break down crying. So it's either laugh or scream like those libs did when they found out Trump was elected.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Just because of the pace of the show right now, why don't I do this deepfake story and then we'll get into your main presentation here.
My main presentation?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? We don't have
That's
to.
fine.
I'm
Fine.
I'm just suggesting it.
No, that's fine. We can do it.
Okay.
We are in deepfake.
This is all funny stuff. It's all great funny stuff.
All sorts of fun stuff. All right, so this is over on RT.com, Russia Today, so you know it's real. Bizarre and deeply disturbing. MSM think that RT's Trump deepfake parody is admission he is Putin's pawn. Oh man, I love this. The MSM just jumps on everybody trying to do some satire. Babylon Bee got banned from Facebook for a while, etc., etc. A satirical video using deepfake technology to show U.S. President Donald Trump as coming to work for RT after the November election was taken very seriously by Russiagate peddlers at the Daily Beast and the Lincoln Project. In a pearl-clutching piece written by a journalist based in Scotland, the Beast called the ad, which features an actor made up to look like President uttering actual Trump sound bites taken out of context, quote, bizarre and frankly deeply disturbing. The author, Jamie Ross, argued its message was to not so subtly suggest that Putin is Trump's personal hero and that the U.S. president is in the pocket of the Kremlin. Dun, dun, dun. Did we want to play the clip? What do you think?
I'm playing the video in the background as you read it here.
Okay, yeah. I don't know that it doesn't really. I don't know if you really call this deep fake just because
it is. Well,
is
no,
it
no.
actually deep faked?
It is because The eyes, the nose, and the mouth, they switched out whoever the actor was with Trump.
Got it. So it is an actual deep fake.
It's not a full deep fake in that regard. It's one of those enhanced or augmented deep fakes.
Got it.
So,
all right, let's keep moving. That's not the only bit of mind reading Ross indulges in either, as he opens the piece by declaring, quote, "We know that Vladimir Putin takes his lifelong campaign to disrupt American democracy and destroy the very foundations of Western civilization extremely seriously." Wow, this guy is intense. It's a bit rich for the outlet that purports to know this and has spent the past 4 years furiously insisting that Trump is Putin's puppet, to now take umbrage at RT supposedly saying so. It's even richer when the Lincoln Project, a group of disgruntled Republican campaign consultants whom Trump made unemployable, now in the service of Joe Biden and the DNC, takes the RT video literally. Moving on. What neither the Beast nor the Lincolns seem to have realized is that the joke was entirely on them. The video doesn't mock Trump as much as the U.S. media and activists like them who have obsessed for the past 4 years over the very claim it lampoons, that the former real estate mogul turned president was somehow an agent of Russia that seeks no less than to disrupt American democracy and destroy Western civilization. Mind you, the Daily Beast is the same outlet that on Wednesday promoted its exclusive interview with the director of the Comey Rule, a mini-series promoting the disgraced former FBI director's version of history, in which he's, of course, the hero. Incidentally, RT's deepfake Trump doesn't look any worse than what Showtime makeup artist did with Brendan Gleeson there. Let's see here. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, then it gets into the worries. Ross worries about what a deep faked video of Joe Biden saying something unconscionable, like calling our troops mean names, could be if it spread like wildfire on Facebook before any kind of correction could be heard. But nobody's made deep fakes of Biden because they don't need to. He provides plenty of meme fodder with his actual unscripted statements, only for the Beast to leap to his defense. Ross himself actually did so Wednesday when he described a Republican report on the foreign misadventures of Biden's son Hunter as a politically motivated hatchet job. If writers and editors at the Beast or the Project Lincoln pals actually paid attention to the RT video, they'd have noticed the repeated parody disclaimers. That they didn't suggests they see only what they want to see. This is not the first time RT baited the Russia haters with satirical clips. Back in 2015, the network celebrated its 10th anniversary by poking fun at President Barack Obama and Secretary of State John Kerry, blah, 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 talking about some other video there. So there you go. Russia Today, the most American news site or news outlet, had a little fun, and they took the bait.
Not only did they take the bait, but just some of the tweets, man, it's unconscionable to me.
I know.
Come on.
It's just straight up lying now, because you know that your far left people aren't going to actually watch the video. They don't care. They just want to see the headline. Trump said crazy thing.
I know, but
now it is truth.
I'm starting to think that the whole ploy here is to make sure he's reelected. Because it's like just the ridiculousness of throwing Biden out there,
doesn't it?
I mean, just rolling out Biden and having all his little things pop up with
Biden's doing a great job campaigning for Trump. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and just this kind of stuff where clear deepfake is being used as like the evidence for their unsubstantiated claims about Russia's connection with the whole.
Just got to keep the headlines moving, man. That's how you manipulate society nowadays.
I guess, but it's almost like they need deep fakes of Joe Biden being normal, like not saying anything crazy.
Good luck. Nobody would believe it. No, people would know it's a deep fake.
They're like, oh, that's either a deep fake or footage from 35 years ago. And even then, have you seen some old Biden footage? where he gets he starts picking fights with people and stuff.
Yeah, he talks like a Republican.
Or like how he's smarter than them and stuff. It's pretty entertaining. I don't know. All politics is just
that's what he was
ridiculous,
saying with the troops. He's like, I have great judgment. I have the best judgment. It's huge. Clap.
Kind of want to watch that footage again.
Let's move on.
Okay, so I wanted to throw this in there. I guess we're moving through quicker than I thought, but that's okay. This is concerning the race wars.
The race wars.
Race wars.
Race war.
I've warned you and warned you and warned you.
And one of the things we actually reported through a CNN source on the last episode, I think, when we talked about it. Right. And I think that confused me because some of these things that I'll clear up here I knew about, but for whatever reason, when we read, this is how bad CNN is. It just messes with your mind, even if you're trying to deconstruct it.
I think doing some comparisons is important.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about propaganda and all that kind of stuff, and that's all true. But in terms of the actual details of the whole Breonna Taylor thing, so the judge did issue a no-knock warrant, but they actually, from all reports, the police actually knocked on the door. And they actually, in that county, I think it might be the whole state, they made no-knock warrants illegal, or they just basically banned it a couple months afterwards, which makes sense. Recently. I mean, there's some pretty unconstitutional elements to a no-knock warrant to begin with.
Yeah, well, it goes back and forth because, I saw some people screaming that it was not a no-knock warrant. You guys are idiots. It wasn't a no-knock warrant. It was a no-knock warrant.
It was.
They just happened to knock.
Yeah, they happened to knock and say who it is.
But the warrant that was served was a no-knock warrant.
Yeah, and I can understand you need a judge's signature to even have one of those. Yeah. And you have to present a case strong enough to suggest that the people they're going after will either, destroy evidence or something along those lines, so that there's a good reason that they're going to just barge in without them knowing, type of thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
so what you have is the collection of evidence that they used to get the warrant signed. Correct.
Right. Well, I have some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things also was you hear or see a lot of people on social media. The first thing you saw a lot was that she was in bed when she was shot. We know that that's not true.
She was sleeping. She was murdered in her sleep, is what they say.
Right, which is not true. She was in the hallway.
Yeah, she got up to answer the door.
And another thing you heard was that her name was not mentioned in the warrant. And that's also not true. Her name was mentioned. And I like how some of the articles that do report on this try to report on it more accurately. I do have a USA Today article ready if we need to, but basically they say
I think it's important to show it because I've had a lot of these facts sort of laid out, and people don't source the info, and you just have to show the source there.
Okay, well, this is USA Today from September 4th. Why were police at Breonna Taylor's home? Here's what an investigative summary says. And what was the point I was trying to make here? That that her name was not mentioned. I think they say like her name was only mentioned twice in the warrant, and it's like, well, yeah, but it was mentioned in the warrant is the point.
Right. The rhetoric used is to try to give the correct evidence, which is, yes, she was mentioned in the warrant, but then to belittle that fact by saying it was only twice.
Only twice, yeah. And one of the things that's written in this USA Today article, Taylor was linked to the suspects in that investigation of Glover, who was the ex-boyfriend, according to the report, because a car registered in her name stopped in early January at one of the properties being watched. So that's a good, pretty good reason. Are you okay over there?
Yeah.
Is your cat coming after you?
I hit my head on the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Well, that too. Maybe you're the cat now.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, and it also says that the car was registered through like one of the car. I don't know if this is a USA Today source, but I pulled it from a couple different places that said that the car was registered through the ex-boyfriend used the car.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, it's that's registered to her. So they had like surveillance footage of the ex-boyfriend using her car, but also like her driving up. Yeah. So that's another thing. And then the other big one was that the ex-boyfriend, Glover, listed Breonna's address as basically his own address for the Chase bank account that was, basically holding some of the cash from the drug deals.
Right. Yeah.
And so, man, it still sucks that she had to get caught up in all the crossfire, but it's not like she's just a completely innocent random person sleeping in a bed that got shot.
Right. So that's the problem we're having. So first of all, I see you in the chat. I know we're reading from liberal sources. We're not a conservative show that repeats the news that you want. What we do is we take news from all different sides, compare, contrast, find the facts, point out rhetoric and the mind control on either side of the conversation and pull out the right stuff. This is not the place to come if you're just wanting to hear conservative articles read to you like a bedtime story. No, we get into all sorts of stuff. So yes, and the point is the CNN article we read 2 days ago was perpetuating the ideas, many of the ideas that are obviously debunked, also being reported in some mainstream, but being left out of others. And that includes that Breonna's address was on the drug dealing bank account. The car was registered to her. I believe there was what else was there? I think the ex-boyfriend actually said in an interview, like after he was arrested, that Breonna was handling his money.
Yeah, it was the jailhouse phone call after he had been arrested.
Right.
And he says to the mother of his child, is how I think the report was, that Breonna has the money. She's got $8,000. She was helping me deal and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So now here's the thing to keep in mind, and this is a very common practice that drug dealers use, especially guys who are moving big amounts of drugs. And this is actually a real big problem in not just the African American community, but that socioeconomic level of people who get into big time drug dealing. It's a tactic that these drug dealers use. Is they'll get a girlfriend or something like that, and they'll put all of the stuff on paper, bank accounts, cars, phone numbers, the paper trail. They pin the whole paper trail on the girlfriend or some woman that they're able to sort of keep around. And that's done to protect the drug dealer. So to me, it sounds like Breonna was, dating this guy who was a drug dealer. He used her, put her name on the bank account, put her name on the phone bill, put her name on the registration, and maybe she was handling the money. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I'm not here to make a claim on whether she was innocent or not, but it is an added factor that it's a very common practice that in order to protect themselves, drug dealers will sort of wrap in sort of an unsuspecting girlfriend, even before the girlfriend knows that they're a drug dealer.
Right.
Now, I don't know what Breonna's situation was. Maybe she knew, maybe she didn't, or maybe she, at the time of Breonna's shooting, he was then an ex-boyfriend. So it sounds like she had gotten out of the relationship, but on paper she's still involved with the whole situation. So
So if anybody should be, this is where the conversation starts to turn into a much deeper societal conversation, because you can then start to say, so all the people that are upset, they shouldn't be upset at the police here. They should be upset at the drug dealer who put her in this situation. But then the response will be that, no, it's because of the cultural, systemic racism, whatever it is, that, people of color are being forced into a culture that is drug dealing and all this kind of stuff. And so the argument goes, down the rabbit trail, so to speak. And I always bring the argument back to it starts in the home. It starts with the parents. It starts with all that, because that's where kids learn their values about themselves and about the world. And that's where things can change. And that's where you can make a difference as an individual, is within your home. That's because culturally you're going to get propagandized from all kinds of things. It's going to be
no way around it.
There's no way around it. They're gonna propagandize you, whether it's pro-police, anti-police, gang culture, whatever it is. Something's going to be glorified. Something's going to be taken into or changed or to as a belief system. And your job as a parent is to make sure that your kid understands that, hey, the world is not as it seems, but also that you have your own ability to sort of act within that and to respond to all that. But of course, that people aren't focusing on that. People are just focusing on down with the police, down with all this. And I was actually surprised at this response here. This is sportingnews.com. Charles Barkley, Big Chuck. Do you know Charles Barkley, Basil?
Oh, yeah.
You do? Okay. All right. On defunding police. Quote, who are black people supposed to call? Ghostbusters? ? And he went on TNT's post game last night after the Lakers-Nuggets game, and basically shared his sentiment that even though he thought it was a sad situation with Breonna Taylor, that he thinks that it shouldn't be the same kind of situation as George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery, and Shaquille O'Neal, who's another guy on the show, ex-NBA player, Freemason, by the way. Yeah. He came out openly, shared his big Masonic ring on the show several years ago. And, he's I think he's like, I don't remember if they call him sheriff, but I don't know if it's just like a fun thing they do with him or if he's actually got a sheriff training or something. I know he had interest in that, but anyway, I think his father was in the military or was a sheriff or something like that. But anyway, he agrees with Charles Barkley here, and of course, this stirred up all the social medias. Everyone's freaking out about Charles Barkley and how he's insensitive. He doesn't know what he's talking about, and
they're keeping the black man down again, man.
It's really fascinating to me because it just seems like there is the stoking is not so much. It is a stoking of race between like white man and black man, but I feel like the stoking is even more just within the black community. Like there's people within the black community saying like, "Hey, we know this is wrong," but like people that are approaching it with a little bit more of a rational mindset, and then others who are just totally buying into the narrative, the public narrative. And so, and what's dangerous about that is, Shaq being an open Freemason, we're going to sit here and say, oh yeah, we agree with Shaq, the Freemason? That puts us in a really weird position too, So it's just no matter what, you're going to get caught up in the net that they throw out there. So just beware. But I wanted to clear some of those things up because I know that it kind of confused some listeners out there, and I just thought it was important to revisit.
That's the point. It's the point to confuse you. I mean, again, when you even have two separate left-leaning mainstream news outlets that can't agree on pretty basic facts, that's part of the double speak and the belly feel.
Yeah.
I've started using belly feel a lot, though. You can really describe a lot of people's. It's kind of like triggered. It's like a different name for triggered almost.
It is. It's almost it's the original word for triggered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also buying into it. But yeah, there you go. Just wanted to touch on it. I didn't want to spend too much time on it because we did on the last episode. But something to keep in mind is all these different facts come out and. People get killed for different reasons, and we already had a couple cops shot in one of the protests, right? I think they're going to live. But what is that? Are we even now?
Yeah, it just
You
keeps
know?
happening, man. No, it's not going to end anytime soon. Like I've been saying, it's getting a little squirmy and really worried about how far this is going to go. Good news is we've only got a month, a little over a month and a couple weeks until the election, and then the real drama can start.
Oh no.
Then oh no.
That's what I'm worried about, you know? That's if Trump wins, then you know they're going to unleash some madness on the streets.
Oh, it's just going to get crazier.
It's going to get crazy. But also, if Trump loses, I think equally crazy.
Maybe. I was thinking about that.
Because they can pull off some, they can ignite some provocateurs of the right wing.
Yeah, it would take an extra little false flag, I think, to really set off, something from the right. But who knows? I mean, it's just the left has caused way more damage than the right so far. But you don't want to mess up. You don't want to make those Boogaloo boys mad.
I know.
With their Hawaiian shirts.
Their Hawaiian
shirts. Know what they're capable of.
Yeah. All right, so that was kind of the wrap up there, and partly the reason why, and we have actually more specific story of the reason why we decided to call this episode American Satan, is because it just the whole thing is adversarial. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, with all these issues, and again, we tend to lean on certain issues more, at least I do, more to the right of the conversation, if you will, but doesn't mean that I'm like a Republican. I'm not, by the way. I'm not registered Republican or registered Democrat. But it's that divide and conquer, and it's so in your face in this country that's what, I guess that's like the helpless feeling that I get, and I know a lot of our listeners have, is like, yeah, we're trying to wake people up and all this kind of stuff, but like, what do you do? How do you wake people up when one side of the news is 24/7 in your face, just nonsense, and then the other side is just as fervent? Maybe they have a little more facts on their side or whatever, but it's still wielding a political.
It's still it's still manipulated. Both
sides.
It's
manipulated.
They'll tip the scales in whatever side they're looking for.
Right.
Yeah. So anyways, we got a bunch more stories to get to, Gons, and we're zipping right along. We're doing a pretty good job. But let's take a very quick break and thank some producers.
Let's do it.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okay, folks, we're just going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere, though. After the break, we have got some Satanist news and a little mother update. We got some waccine secret society, secret panel, death panels, as well as everybody's favorite Nephilim update at the end of the show. So stick around. But first, we're going to thank some new Twitch followers and some producers of the show. You know what? I forgot to pull up some stuff. I'm going to do that in a second. But Gons, you got your dinger ready for some Twitch followers?
It's ready.
Okay, it is ready. First of all, I want to thank Kermogant for following on Twitch. Thank you very much, Kermogant. We've got real Hunter Biden. You heard us talking about him.
Don't give us your dirty money, real Harry
real
Biden.
Hunter Biden. Real Hunter Biden. We got Joe Biden's clone is following us now.
Oh, hey.
So we've got Hairy Legs Biden and Joe Biden's clone.
We're really getting the Biden family the attention.
The whole
the Biden family.
We've got Steve Simpson, 007.
All right.
The Elegant Hobo.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you very much. We've got Mia Vengeance.
I like it.
We got Ozark Mama. We got Bald OG's G-Mall. Bald OGs? Bald OGs? The heads, not the tails.
Like an Ouroboros reference?
I don't know. Must be. Babu Frick, 5240. God Type Com. And Diggity Dog. And that is all of them. So thank you very much to our new Twitch followers. We appreciate that very much. If you haven't done it yet, you should follow us at twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. It's a great place to watch the show live. Notifications usually go out on time, and you're just going to want to follow us in multiple locations because you never know when we're going to disappear off of your favorite platform. Could happen at any moment. Could happen right now.
Nope, didn't happen.
Up or back. Okay. All right. Next, I want to thank some producers. That's right. We got producers on this show, folks, because this is the real world. If you help pay for a piece of media to be created, you're not just a donor. You're not just a charitable Christian. You are a producer of the show. And I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with the show of producership this week, Gonzo. Now, just so everybody knows, we are on the value for value model. What does that mean? Well, let's give you some background here. If you've watched The Social Dilemma, or you're just aware of how the internet is an evil place that collects all your information, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, every single thing you do on the internet is collected and compiled and sold to advertisers for, just for sinister purposes. Now, here's the thing. A lot of shows like ours, they'll do advertising, and that's okay. We respect their choice to do that. But we decided long ago that, the fact that the advertising model encourages people like us to consider our listeners as a commodity, as cattle to load up on a truck and sell to advertisers for our own personal gain. We just didn't feel right about that. Instead, we go on the value for value model, which is we put out the show, we do it often, and we try to do a pretty good job. And if it brings any value to your life at all, you have the opportunity to put some value back into the show. And it's not just investing in the show, it's also investing in yourself. I mean, if you're getting value out of the show, if it means anything to you, helping out the show financially is doing nothing but helping out yourself as well. So that's why we appreciate our producers so much. We couldn't do it without you. Now, first of all, you can go to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. It's a great place to start supporting the show. And Gons, we've got a couple new producers. First of all, I want to thank Phyllis Schmillis for upgrading her support level. Thank you very much, Phyllis. Next, we have producer Jared coming in. That's right. Thank you, producer Jared. And producer Melanie. So thank you, three. That was very, very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. It was
also,
nice.
Phyllis, I saw Phyllis also subscribe to the Face Like the Sun Patreon, so thank you for that, Phyllis.
Oh, thank you very much. She's jumping in all over the place. We appreciate that. Next, we have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. That's a different podcast we have. If you have not listened to that podcast, you really should. It's a great place to update yourself on, really what's going on long term. And you might know about some of that stuff now, but it's an interview show. You're not going to want to miss it. Now, patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. We've got two new producers, Gons, and that is Relisthesia. Thank you, producer Relisthesia, and producer Laura. Thank you so much. Now, here's the thing, folks. If you don't like Patreon, that's okay. A lot of people don't like Patreon. We respect your choices. But if you don't want to use Patreon and you still want to support the show, you can go to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. Over at canarycryradio.com/support. We'll drop that link in the chat for you. We have all sorts of ways to support the show. We got PayPal options. You can come in with a monthly producership, or jump in, if commitment's not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount that you choose. We've also got cryptocurrency options, all sorts of fun ways to support the show there. Gons, anybody come in on PayPal?
Yes, we got a really, really generous gift tackling the whole 33. Taking back the 33. I know you guys, the people started the $33 gift donation thing. But you move a decimal and it starts to pile up. I'm going to say this only because it's the 33 times 10. $333.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Big time.
So generous. I think that makes, what's this person's name?
Estella, I think.
Estella. That makes Estella executive producer for this show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Estella.
Thank you, Estella.
You are very generous and our executive producer for episode 247. Thank you very much, Estella. Okay, Gons, I'll let you bring up some art. Oh my gosh, I am so happy about the art this week. You got the ones I told you about, right?
Yeah.
You got them,
yeah,
you got them all in there.
I do,
okay. So let's start with that while I pull up some reviews.
One art, please.
One way you can help produce the show is by sending us jingles and artwork. And of course, artwork is much more consistent than jingles. And for the first one here, we want to show, this is from Jade42. And Jade42 was having a little moment because they also drew I guess it's a portrait of me.
Yeah, it's your same headshot.
I know the one headshot.
Two artists.
It's well, I think this is the third one because we also had
Incarnate Unlimited.
Incarnate Unlimited. Yeah, he also did a hand drawing of it. So yeah, making its rounds. But Jade messaged us with artwork glitch in the Matrix because or God trolling them. So either way.
Great. I mean, very talented. We had Allie, or who was it? It was Allie, right?
It was Allie, yeah.
Allie last week also did this portrait. Gons, you have a whole collection of artists drawing your portrait now.
Yeah,
That's,
I know.
It's very impressive, and this is a very impressive rendition. Very good.
I just keep showing it to my wife. Huh? See?
One of these days, Gons. One of these days.
One of these days, she'll love me again. The other one we have a couple more. These are great. We got one from
might have
Yvonne.
to do an explanation here.
Yes. I'll let you explain it, but let's show the first one from Yvonne. And this is a shirtless Putin on riding a bear, and also President Trump riding an ostrich.
And last show, if you tuned in for last episode or caught the podcast, it was just a random thing. I don't even remember how we got into it, but I made a call out to our artists that I wanted a picture of Trump. I did specifically say shirtless with an AR-15, but I did kind of question that judgment later on after the show. I was like, oh, I can't be asking people to draw Trump shirtless. That's just uncomfortable. So who is the artist on this one?
This was Yvonne.
Yes, very good. We've got Putin in his famous shirtless pose riding a bear, and we've got Trump on an ostrich. He's looking very presidential and waving to the crowd. Wow, I'm gonna have to print this out. I'm gonna have to print out a lot of these portraits. I might make a whole wall of. I got to print out all the fan art, the producership art.
We really need to put together a website that just has all of them so that it's like searchable and all that. We really should get on that.
Yeah,
Someone
you do
wants to
post
help us
them.
with that.
They are posted in the show notes, correct? At canarycrynewstalk.com.
Yep, they are. And the other one, it must have caught the artist's attention when we mentioned it because Allie, our prolific artist, drew the same thing, but
known producer,
but went for it. This is Trump shirtless with, I think that's I don't know if it's an AR-15. It's
some
a gun.
sort of gun. Yeah, it's a rifle.
And fun fact or obscure fact coming from Charlie, who emailed us Allie's drawings here. When you ride an ostrich, your legs go under its wings and you hold onto its feathers. So it does not necessarily look like he's actually riding an ostrich. But I assure you he is. So he's nestled in tight there. President Trump.
And the look on his face. If you're listening and not watching the live stream, you need to go to canarycrynewstalk.com. Look at the show notes for this episode. The look on Trump's face as he's riding this ostrich holding his shotgun. Actually, and Allie, great job. You did it shirtless too. I felt a little guilty, but you followed through. Shirtless Trump riding an ostrich holding a shotgun. Wow. I've made a lot of requests from artists over the past 8 months, and this has been the most fulfilled request.
we just need to come up with better visuals that our artists can manifest.
Is great. No, I'm not going to hold back. Get ready, artists. It's going to be real. So very, very good. Thank you, Allie, youngest known producer. Gazelle Bonds in the chat. Really, really great work. To all of our artists, I cannot believe this is the most satisfied I've been with a request for art in a while.
Wouldn't it be weird if Trump went shirtless and he had like sleeve tattoos?
That would be funny. Yeah, he has. You'd probably see his. I don't know. Maybe he has his Illuminati tattoo under there.
Oh.
There's a lot of calls in the chat for making these T-shirts, and I gotta say, we talk about it a lot. We try to resist getting involved and having to manage all that just because neither of us are very good at it or have enough time. But these we might have to put the work in on these Gons and make these into T-shirts. These would be some real. Can you imagine? It's just this, either of them, both of them, maybe all on one big T-shirt and just canarycryradio.com. Underneath Canary Cry News Talk, but our little logo, it just confused people so much.
It would.
It would be great advertising.
It's just confuse them. You don't need to tell them what the show is about. Just go listen. Confuse people.
Yeah, what else do you need to know? Just look at the shirt. Okay, we better keep moving. Right. Any more art?
I think that's it for the art. If I am not mistaken. I hadn't checked right here right now, but I think that's it. Oh, we have one more thing. We did get some snail mail.
Oh.
And I have my my letter here. And this one's from Devin. And it says here, Dear Basil and Gons, we really love what you are doing at Canary Cry Radio. As agreed, here's your first shill check.
Ooh, we got a shill check.
Shill check.
We finally made it.
And it says, Shill Inc. World Headquarters is the address at the top.
No.
So I have the letter here.
Let me switch over to the video. Let me see this. Did you show it? No, you didn't.
No, I did not show it. Yeah, I'm not going to show
it. But
funny.
It's okay. Are we going to be able to cash that? It's not made out to Shill Inc., is it?
No, what? No.
The check is from it says Shill Inc. on the check?
No, not on the check.
Okay. Sorry, I was confused. I have not seen this, so I thought you meant because on checks, it has the person's name in the top left, and a lot of times they'll have an address. I thought somebody started a corporation called Shill Inc. specifically to give us a shill check.
The lengths people will go to fulfill our absurd requests.
Oh my gosh, this is the best break ever. When we break for this show, we usually lose about 50 live viewers. Yeah. They don't know what they're missing. No, if you're sticking around for the break, this is why you stick around for the break. They just don't get it. Oh my gosh.
They don't get it. They don't get it.
They don't know what they're missing, and they don't deserve it. If you leave during the break, you don't deserve to see Trump riding an ostrich. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right.
Are you ready for some reviews? It's Friday.
I'm ready.
It's review day.
Review day.
All right.
Yep.
We've gotten some reviews recently for on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't done it yet, here's your instructions. Just Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo, whatever you use. Type in Apple Podcasts Canary Cry News Talk. That will take you, I believe the first thing should take you to our Apple Podcast page. Please leave us ratings and reviews. Not only do we read all of them and love to read them, but it also tells the algorithms to share the show with people when you do that. And here we go. I'm going to go down the line. These are from the 21st. So these were at the beginning of the week. Here we go. 5 stars from iFaith1215. The best voices in Christian radio. Wow.
Ooh.
No commercials, no ads, just great insight, biblical and intelligence. Yes, both. Thank you, iFaith. Gons is not the only intelligent one here. Major love for CCNT and the incredible community. That's you guys. That's you, listeners. Thank you, Watchmen on the Wall. You are beyond appreciated. Behold, the best podcast on period. Global news with biblical views. Wow. Great review. Thank you, iFaith1215. 5 stars, baby.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Next, we have 5 stars from Stephen R. David from the beginning of the week. Writing as I'm catching a live stream. Oh, yes. This podcast is excellent for keeping up on your relevant news cycle while also getting entertaining and informative stories that fit into their daily themes. Basil and Gons hit each day, ranging from the lovable Flippy update, a talking point, and colloquialism to discuss in a lighthearted and engaging way the current stories about technologies around the world, to informed and nuanced information regarding the weekly hot button issues. Partisan nonsense is left at the door, and a healthy dose of comedic skepticism of sometimes skepticism itself. Wow, Stephen, this is so insightful. Goodness gracious.
I love it.
It goes on. All hot air and frilly words aside, if you want a podcast that actually makes you feel better after hearing the news said by them, instead of whatever fear pitch or hot take the majority of media is pushing, give these guys a listen. They've been doing this for a long time, and it shows in how many repeat listeners. I'm confident you'll be one too if you check them out. Take care, Basil and Gons. You guys are great. At R.A.P. Epstein, a.k.a. Lil Mossad on Twitch. Oh, that's R.A.P. Epstein, a.k.a. Lil Mossad on Twitch. I don't know if he's in today, but he's always in. So thank you very much. Wow, what a great review. Thank you so much, Stephen. Let's see. I think we got one more, I think, here. This is from Small One, 5-star review. Best podcast ever. Need news? Need something that won't drain you? This show is amazing. Love Basil and Gons for what they do. Easygoing, hard-hitting, great dinosaur noises, too. Oh my gosh, what a great day, Gons. I was a little iffy on this show, but I'm feeling good now. And then actually one more here. 5 stars from emusk33. Oh no.
Oh no.
Great podcast. Awesome. They're so kickback and easy to hear. There we go. Oh my gosh, there's another one.
Ooh, wow, it just came in.
Yeah, one more here. This is from VG333. Look forward to this every week. I've listened to Canary Cry Radio for 5 years now, and the more content I get from these guys, the better. If you're a CCR listener, honestly, what are you waiting for? This podcast covers news topics that you don't hear about on the regular news channels. My favorite is the Nephilim update. It's current, relevant, and usually quite humorous. Keep up the good work, Gons and Basil. Also, Basil makes the best velociraptor noises I've ever heard.
By the end of this, you're going to be employed by some movie maker. Like, who's got the best velociraptor?
I know.
Jurassic Park 8.
I need to send in my audition tape to the new Jurassic World movie. Wow, what a great review segment. Thank you, everybody, for leaving reviews. Hallelujah. Remember, you should leave us a review too. I've made the decision I read reviews on Fridays. So you got a week, but don't wait. Do it now. Gons and I read them all. Makes us feel good, and you'll get a shout out on the show. I'm going to screenshot some of these and use them for advertising. I'm going to post these, I think. Some of these are great.
Oh, we're not doing ads.
We're not doing ads. I just mean, throw them on Facebook or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'll get them tattooed on my body.
Oh, hey. Hey, don't start saying that. You're gonna find yourself in trouble.
Shill Inc.
Shill Inc. Yes, thank you, everybody. Those are really nice reviews, and we are still on the mission to take some people down.
You're going down, Olstein.
That's right. All right. Anything else for this break, or are we jumping back in?
I think we're jumping back in. We're about ready to wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, let's start out here, Gons, with a little mommy update.
Mommy update? Oh, yes. Yes. Yes.
Other. There is no other. Like mother. So treat her right, come on.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
Jeez, HuffPost. How fitting. HuffPost.com. The article is titled "The Death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg Pushed Me to Join the Satanic Temple." Whoa, that's not me. That's just what the headline says.
The headlines. By the way, did you watch all day today? They were doing the RBG like memorial
Laying in
thing.
wait.
Yeah, the whole deal. Very
just for a
interesting.
quick breakdown, those of you who have seen RGB, first woman and first Jewish person, they claim, to lay in wait. That's where they put the casket underneath the what is it called? The
rotunda?
The arch, the rotunda, which painted on the rotunda, on the dome, is the apotheosis of George Washington. It's a painting of George Washington sitting as a god among Greek or Roman gods. I forget which one. And the occult meaning of this, and has been expressed by those who would know, is the reason they do laying in wait. This is when a president dies or an important politician dies. John McCain was laid in wait. It's a ritual where they lay the body under the apotheosis of George Washington. So the occult reason being that they can also join George Washington in godhood as a leader of the country. Very occult, esoteric ritual that has been around for a long time in this country, and exposes the occulty beliefs of not just the founding fathers, but the continuing secret societies that run the place. Yeah. Did I miss anything?
No.
Any important details there, Johns? I think I got it all.
You got it, and I think this article sort of wraps it up in a nice satanic bow. But go ahead.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so in response to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, first woman, first Jewish person to be laid in wait, this is what we're hinting with. "I am a 40-something attorney and mother who lives in a quiet neighborhood with a yard and a garage full of scooters and soccer balls. I often walk my children to get ice cream and spend weekends hiking through a national park. I am not the type of person who would normally consider becoming a Satanist, but these are not normal times." Oh my gosh. Like so many other women in the United States, when I learned of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's passing, my first reaction was not grief, but fear. I fear that American citizens are inching closer to living in a theocracy or dictatorship, that the checks meant to prevent this from happening are close to eroding beyond repair. When Justice Ginsburg died, I knew immediately that action was needed on a scale we have not seen before. Our democracy has become so fragile that the loss of one of the last guardians of common sense and decency in government less than 2 months before a pivotal election has put our civil and reproductive rights in danger like never before. And so I have turned to Satanism. Members of the Satanic Temple do not believe in the supernatural or superstition in the same way that some Unitarians and some Jews do not believe in God. Satanic Temple members do not worship Satan, and most are atheists. They are not affiliated in any way with the Church of Satan. Just a quick description. We've talked about this before, but the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan are two different things. The Church of Satan actually worships Satan. The Satanic Temple, they claim to be like an art project against religion. Moving on. Instead, the Satanic Temple uses the devil as a symbol of rebellion. Dun, dun, dun. Just like other faiths, the Satanic Temple has a code that their members believe in deeply and use to guide their lives. These 7 fundamental tenets include that, quote, "One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason." That, quote, "The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions." And that, quote, "One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone." Reading through the 7 tenets, I was struck by how closely they aligned with the unwritten code I had used to try to guide my own life for several years. I realized happily that these were my people and that I had been a Satanist for several years without even knowing it. When Justice Ginsburg's death suddenly made combating the threats to reproductive rights and a government free from religious interference more urgent, I knew it was time to join. I like that there. When under the threat of religious interference, I got religious. I knew it was time to join them and support their conceptual and legal battles. Even before Ginsburg's death, the Supreme Court was unwilling to provide adequate protection for a woman's right to choose and to control her body. The court was unwilling to keep church and state separate. Neither of those points are actually true, but okay. Now, without her voice of reason on the court, let alone her vote, Roe versus Wade is in imminent danger of being overturned, not based on legal arguments or scientific reasoning, but because of religious objections to what is a safe and necessary procedure for the woman who seek it out after discussions with their physician. Okay, a lot of leaps of logic there, but okay. Ginsburg's replacement is all but certain to be vehemently anti-choice, with one of the top contenders being belonging to a sect that actually used the term handmaid to refer to women until the popularity of the TV series The Handmaid's Tale gave the term negative connotations. Notice how there's no actual facts in that, no names. They just call it a sect. A sect of what? What are you referring to? My understanding is that Trump's current pick has explicitly said that they would not touch Roe versus Wade. But that doesn't make for a very good activating talking point for the left. So, I think this woman was just looking for a reason to become a Satanist. In the hours after Justice Ginsburg's death, I sat wondering what the future would hold for my daughters. Their ability to live in a country where the religious beliefs of others would not play a role in their right to assert autonomy over their own bodies was suddenly, starkly in danger. Traditional means of keeping abortion safe and legal seemed woefully inadequate to protect the rights that women in the generation before me had fought so hard to secure. Almost immediately, I saw strength in the Satanic Temple's efforts to turn religious arguments on their head by pushing for religious liberty for their members on an equal basis with believers in the dominant Christian faiths. If you remember, I believe it was the Satanic Temple who created the abortion ritual.
Yeah, the one we covered a few episodes ago.
Right. That was about a month ago we covered that. Yeah. And this is not just a theoretical push. The temple has launched campaigns and filed lawsuits to compel the government to do this in matters ranging from exemptions from legal mandates to cover birth control to the ability to display religious symbols in government buildings or allow religious clubs in public schools by pointing out instances where the government has favored Christian rhetoric and filing legal challenges to stop it. Stop the Christian rhetoric. The Satanic Temple has transformed belief into action and has demonstrated what freedom fighting truly looks like. Okay, just a little bit more here. The Satanic Temple hopes to appear before the Supreme Court in a case challenging a Missouri abortion law that requires those seeking to terminate their pregnancy to first receive materials asserting that their abortion would end the life of a separate, unique person. Yeah, because that would just be crazy. The temple argues that these materials violate the deeply held religious beliefs of one of its members regarding bodily autonomy and scientifically reasonable personal choice. The argument the Satanic Temple is using is the same one the Supreme Court effectively endorsed in the Hobby Lobby birth control case, for which Justice Ginsburg wrote the dissent, that no one should have to follow a law that violates their deeply held religious beliefs. If a Christian should not have to do so based on that, what a crazy rabbit hole that could become. Bring that out to the logical conclusion. If your religious belief is that you have to sacrifice babies, that argument would try to make that legal based on religious beliefs. Moving on. If a Christian should not have to do so based on their religion, a Satanist should not have to either. This is what equally under the law means on a fundamental level. This is an organization. What?
Equality under the law.
What did I say?
Equally?
Oh, yeah. This is what equality under the law means on a fundamental level. This is an organization I want standing up for my rights and for my daughters'. The Satanic Temple. While I support more mainstream groups like the American Civil Liberties Union and Americans United for Church and State, my research has shown that the Satanic Temple is truly in line with my beliefs about protecting our First Amendment rights and fighting laws that promote or are based on religious doctrine, and that is willing to use radical, creative, and yet legally sound strategies to make its case. I was able to become a mother when I wanted on my own terms. Throughout my pregnancy, I had access to scientifically accurate information and the ability to make informed choices with my doctor. While I never had an abortion, I want the same opportunities to choose for my own girls. I am far from certain these rights will exist 10 years from now, when they may be deciding when, how, or even whether to start their own families. There is a real chance that the Supreme Court will be lost for a generation or more to justices appointed for their religious beliefs rather than a deep understanding of the Constitution or a desire for justice to be carried out on an impartial basis. Because of this, I believe that the Satanic Temple and its members' dedication to fighting for true freedom represents our best last defense against anti-choice lawmakers who are seeking to, notice how they're going for the anti-choice rhetoric there, who are seeking to assert power over women's bodies and take away our right to choose. Yeah, not because they just don't want to kill babies. It's because they want to control you. We need creative, resolute thinkers who are willing to stand up for what they believe in and take concrete action to do so. And the Satanic Temple is full of those kinds of people. I am proud to now count myself among their ranks. Everyone who cares about women having autonomy over their bodies should care about efforts to use religion to chip away at this right. We need to think outside the box to challenge what is coming and what is already here. The Satanic Temple is already doing that, and by becoming one of its members, I believe I have joined a community of people who will stop at nothing to safeguard my family's rights and all of our rights when they are at their most vulnerable. So there you go, Gons. Joining the Satanic Temple to protect abortion.
Well, not just abortion. She's saying all of our rights.
Yeah, I know. Notice a lot of those false equivalencies, as if all of the rights and First Amendment rights aren't being fought for by pretty much everybody except the establishment. The Christians have been, the church in general has been an advocate for first. I mean, if it wasn't for the church, there may not be First Amendment rights. Yeah.
Well, plus, what about the rights of the child that's not born yet?
And that's where the logic breaks down, doesn't it?
Everyone's rights. The ones I like, though, not the ones you like.
Yeah. Well, and it degrades into, the point of, when does the person gain rights? When they are born on American soil, as it is stated in the Constitution, that's what they take that as a hard line. You have to be born. You have to be expelled from your mother's womb in order to gain rights. And before that happens, you have no rights, even though, it could be 3 minutes before you become a citizen of the United States. It's just all these lines being drawn is insane. Now, I'm not trying to get into a whole abortion conversation here. This is more about, specifically Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death prompting this woman to become a Satanist.
I know it's pretty crazy. It's madness if you think of it that way. And you got to think from, looking at this from sort of spiritual goggles, so to speak. There's got to be something else here going on with them using the elite types using the RBG death as some kind of catalyst that would move. Because I'm sure this writer here, Jamie Smith is what she goes by, probably not the only person feeling this way, especially if they really bought into who RBG, or what she represented. And what the threats are to our Constitution and our rights if they replace someone that's more conservative, But, looking at it from spiritual goggles, it's got to be something's wrong. Like something's not right in terms of just the country in general, where they feel like someone feels like they need to turn to the Satanic Church to feel welcomed or have some kind of camaraderie about, about the future of their kids and the rights of themselves and their children. I get it's largely around abortion, and so that's where the conversation gets kind of messed up or confused.
Yeah.
But because a lot of it, and we talked about this in the last episode, but there's a difference between what's legal and what's moral, and they don't always jive. And abortion is actually a really good example of that, because morally, a lot of people are like, no, it's killing babies, but legally it's allowed. So not everything that's legal is moral. And I think when you start conflating the two, you fall into these traps here, like this author did, where the rights and the law and those things are much more important the way they are right now. It's it's not like laws haven't changed over the years.
Right.
The way they are right now is how all things should be forevermore. And it's just a very limited view on things.
And it gets mixed up too. I mean, it's the subtlety and the nuance, to refer to a reviewer of ours, is because of course the left will pull out that conversation when it comes to gun control or the Second Amendment or this or that. Being we get to choose which old laws we like, and we get to choose which old laws we don't like. But just to equate the law with morality and trying to factor, I mean, it's a literal equation. It's like trying to create a mathematical equation of like age of law, morality of action, plus First Amendment, minus religious exemption, et cetera, trying to figure out what to make the law of the land. But this whole explosion over Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been pretty nuts. And I'll say it again. What was I don't have it right in front of me. What is the name of Trump's assumed?
I have it here. It's
Amy something, right?
Yeah, it was in the article that was linked. Amy Coney Barrett.
Yes,
and she's the Catholic, a charismatic Catholic, is how
sect.
Newsweek is reporting.
She's in a sect. Yeah, and there are quotes from her when she's like literally in a church talking, where she will, but she literally came out and said, you know what, I'm my beliefs will not factor into what I do on the bench. I'm strictly, following legal precedent. I would not mess with, a long-standing legal precedent to achieve my own religious beliefs. She said this, but of course, nobody wants to hear it because this is all political, and we just, orange man bad can't. If Trump likes her, she must be evil. And Trump himself, I mean, this idea that look, I know we have some people who love Trump, and that's totally okay, but we step outside of the left-right paradigm for this show. And the fact of the matter is, Trump was a Democrat for his entire life until he switched to run as a Republican. He doesn't care about Roe v. Wade. He doesn't. I don't know. I mean, you can stop me, Gons, if you think I'm wrong.
I don't know. I don't know enough to really say one way or another.
Yeah, I don't think he does. He has no interest in causing that kind of trouble, I don't think. Maybe he does. I don't know. We'll see. But from what I know about him in his past and what he said, if I wasn't in VR land and I could Google faster, let me look this up. Actually,
I was going to say,
I'll let you take the show for a second.
Well, he might now because he's got to appeal to the evangelical right conservative crowd. So he might.
That's
he might
true.
be pro-life now.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to mention, you were talking about lying in wait under the
It's
rotunda.
lying in state. I know.
Yeah, I think it's
not lying in wait. It's lying in state.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it here. It says lie in honor. So I don't know if that's a whole different. Yeah, lie in honor in the Capitol rotunda. And one of the people that they had this or was went through the whole lying in honor in the Capitol rotunda was Billy Graham. back in I think it was 2018.
Yeah, well, which fed into the whole Billy Graham lizard person
right.
Theory.
Yeah, which is always interesting. I mean, I've seen some people report about how he had his Freemasonic connections and stuff, and certainly if you're that big of a personality, you're going to rub shoulders with people that are probably less than good. But
this is from the Washington Times, so it's the right-leaning competitor of Washington Post. From January 21st, 2020, Trump declares Roe v. Wade anniversary as National Sanctity of Human Life Day. Did you hear about this?
I kind of remember, something along those lines.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's towing the party line now. So
somebody mentioned the Noahide laws
in
the chat, and I'm trying to pull up what they were because there's 7 Noahide laws, and then they mentioned the 7 laws of the Satanic Temple, and I'm wondering if there's any correlation there or any overlap. It'd be an interesting study.
I'm sorry, in reference to what now?
The Noahide laws.
Yeah,
have you
but
heard
in
about
reference to Roe v. Wade?
No, just more so, just in general, having the Catholic to replace RBG. So that someone was saying in the chat, and I'm sorry, I don't know who it was in the chat there, but they were saying they need somebody to replace whoever replaces RBG is going to put in the Noahide laws.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about this Noahide law thing. A lot of people think it's a good idea. Some people compare it to just the Jewish version of Sharia law. I'm actually, right off the top of my head right now for this show, I'm not really ready to comment on that.
Yeah, I'm looking at the laws here. I don't see necessarily any overlap with the 7 satanic laws, but that's just on first view here. But we won't have to go down. We don't have to go down that rabbit trail.
No, that's for another show, I think.
But somebody can do that and maybe report.
Anyways, and there's an interesting, again, just to understand, I think it's important everybody understands when we talk about Luciferianism, Satanism, the Church of Satan versus the Satanic Temple. Luciferianism is totally different from the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan is what most people think of when they think of Satanism.
Right.
But the Satanic Temple, allegedly, the claim is that it was created as sort of an art project, an anti-religion art project. But wouldn't that just be a great way to get a bunch of people to claim that they worship Satan?
Yeah.
Very tricky.
Yeah, the devil, what was it? What's the whole thing? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
What a classic. Classic quotes with guns.
It's just on the intro of the View from the Bunker show I listened to for years, so with Derek Gilbert over there. All right, so I think we kind of got through this one, but let's move on to this little waccine story here.
Waccine.
This is NBCnews.com. Secret. Powerful panels will pick COVID-19 vaccine winners. Did you know about this? The secret panel? Yeah.
Wait, there's winners and losers now?
It's like a reality TV show that we didn't know about with dark, shadowy people behind a panel choosing who wins.
It's like the Bachelorette at the end. If the lizard person gives you a rose, you get the vaccine.
Most Americans have never heard of Dr. Richard Whitley, an expert in pediatric infectious diseases at the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Yet, as the coronavirus pandemic drags on and the public eagerly awaits a vaccine, I don't know if we're eagerly awaiting a vaccine, but okay. He may well be among the most powerful people in the country. Whitley leads a small, secret panel of experts tasked with reviewing crucial data on the safety and effectiveness of coronavirus vaccines that U.S. taxpayers have helped fund, including products from Moderna, AstraZeneca, Johnson & Johnson, and others. The Data and Safety Monitoring Board, known as DSMB, is supposed to make sure the medicine is safe and it works. It has the power to halt a clinical trial or fast-track it. So these are the shadowy people that are responsible for the person who had the spinal fluid injury.
The 33 victim.
Yeah. Shielding the identities of clinicians and statisticians on the board is meant to insulate them from pressure by the companies sponsoring the trial, government officials, or the public, according to multiple clinical trial experts who have served on such panels. That could be especially important in the pressure cooker environment of COVID-19 vaccine research, fueled by President Donald Trump's promise to deliver a vaccine before Election Day. As pharmaceutical companies work to produce one as quickly as possible, the board's anonymity has stirred concerns that the cloak of secrecy could paradoxically allow undue influence. Whitley, for example, represents the specialized world these experts inhabit, a professor revered in academia who also is paid by the drug industry. There you go. That's the big problem there. Any political pressure to rush pharmaceutical companies or lean on federal regulators to prematurely greenlight a vaccine would undermine a system put in place to ensure public safety. Calls are growing for companies and governments to be more open about who's involved in reviewing the vaccine trials and whether board members have any conflicts of interest. Quote, "We want to know they're truly independent," said Dr. Eric Topol, director of the Scripps Research Translational Institute and a specialist in clinical trials. Quote, "The lack of transparency is exasperating. Exasperating. Data and safety monitoring boards have existed for decades to vet new drugs and vaccines, acting as a backdrop to help ensure unsafe products don't make their way to the public. Typically, there's one board for each product. This time, a joint DSMB with 10 to 15 experts will review unblinded data across trials for multiple coronavirus vaccines, whose development the U.S. government has helped fund, according to 5 people involved in the Trump administration's Operation Warp Speed or other coronavirus vaccine work." Unblinded data.
Yeah, I was just pondering that.
So unblinded meaning that they're going to know what companies they're looking at, basically.
Yeah, sounds like a great opportunity for a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I mean that's like directly. Why wouldn't it be? That makes no sense.
That is how you conflict interest. So you unblind the data.
Okay, it is run through the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institute of Health and consists of outside scientists and statistical experts, not federal employees, NIH Director Francis Collins said on a call with reporters. Francis Collins, our champion for vaccines for all the Christians. Remember him with the songs? He had the guitar music we reported on a few weeks ago.
I forgot, but
he's the guy. Yeah, he's the DNA guy. He's the guy who. Anyway, okay. Let me continue.
He sings the DNA, the YouTube video guy.
Yeah, he had the songs on his guitar, but he was a Christian.
Bro,
he became a Christian.
That was not a few weeks ago. That was like in March when we were talking about.
Okay, well, it was at least a couple months ago.
Time warp guns.
Quote, "Until they are convinced that there's something there that looks promising, nothing is unblinded and sent to the FDA." Okay, hold on. Collins said, okay, wait. "Until they are convinced that there's something there that looks promising, nothing is unblinded." Nothing is unblinded, which means it's blind.
So they're keeping it blind.
All right, so what was that earlier sentence? Okay, anyway.
I don't know. What is the point of any of this? It's crazy.
"I doubt if there have been very many vaccine trials ever that have been subjected to this size of the trial and the rigor with which it's being evaluated. The NIH Safety Board oversees trials in the U.S. from Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca. U.S. officials and others involved in Operation Warp Speed said, but not Pfizer, which is fully funding its clinical trial work and established its own 5-member safety panel." Oh, okay.
5 members? Wow.
Pfizer has attested that it can concisely determine by late October the effectiveness of its vaccine being jointly developed with German company BioNTech. It secured a $1.95 billion purchase agreement with the Department of Health and Human Services for the first 100 million doses produced. The agreement gives HHS the option to buy an additional 500 million doses. Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and AstraZeneca, which have either started or are aiming to soon begin large-scale trials in the U.S. involving thousands of patients, collectively have received more than $2 billion in government funds for vaccine development. Billions more have been meted out under agreements similar to the HHS contract with Pfizer to buy millions of vaccine doses. Having one safety board oversee multiple trials could allow researchers to better understand the field of products and apply consistency across evaluations, clinical trials experts said in interviews. One big advantage, quote, could be more standardization, said Dr. Walter Orenstein, Associate Director of the Emory Vaccine Center at Emory University and a former senior official at the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Quote, they can look at the data and look at all the trials instead of just doing one trial. But it also means that one board has an outsized influence to dictate which coronavirus vaccines eventually succeed or come to a halt, all while most of their identities remain secret. The NIH declined to name them, saying they were, quote, confidential and could be identified only once a study was complete. One exception to the mystery is Whitley, who was appointed as chair by Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Science is truth.
The nation's top infectious disease official. Fauci said the following, quote, combination of input from us and from him and other colleagues, the people who had the greatest expertise in a variety of areas, including statistics, clinical studies, vaccinology, immunology, clinical work, were selected for the panel. Whitley's role became public when his university announced it, an unusual move. He is a professor as well as a board member of Gilead Sciences, which recently signed a contract with Pfizer to manufacture remdesivir to treat COVID-19 patients. Whitley, who's been on Gilead's board since 2008, conducted research that led to remdesivir's development. In 2019, he was paid roughly $430,000 as a Gilead board member, according to documents filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission. That same year, he received more than $7,700 in payments from GlaxoSmithKline for consulting, food, and travel, according to a federal database that tracks drug and device company payments to physicians. GlaxoSmithKline and Sanofi are jointly developing a vaccine that received $2 billion from the U.S. government under Operation Warp Speed. Whitley declined an interview, however, through a university spokesperson. Whitley said his DSMB has not seen any GlaxoSmithKline COVID-19 protocol. The companies have yet to begin phase 3 trials, although he chairs a separate GSK data and safety monitoring board for the pediatric vaccine. He was vetted and cleared by the NIH Conflict of Interest Committee with its knowledge of his involvement, the spokesperson said. I like how there's a committee for everything. There's a committee for conflict of interest committee. What if there's a conflict of interest within the conflict of interest committee? So anyway.
Well, there's another committee.
Goes all the way up.
Committees all the way down, baby.
Quote, when handled responsibly, it is appropriate for physicians to collaborate with external entities, said UAB spokesperson Bina Thanakal, saying the university works with physicians to ensure that industry engagement is appropriate. Quote, it facilitates a critical exchange of knowledge and accelerates and advances clinical treatments and cures, and it fuels discovery. Multiple experts praised his skill. Dr. Walter Strauss, an associate vice president at the drug company Merck & Co., said Whitley is an, quote, eminence gris, sounds like a word in another language that I don't know, in pediatrics whom people trust. What is that? An eminence gris?
Grice.
I actually trust that process, and the fact that they asked Rich to do it makes me feel reassured because he's so good, said Dr. Gene Marazzo, director of the University of Alabama, Birmingham's Division of Infectious Diseases. Multiple scientists who have participated in data and safety monitoring boards maintain it's important to keep the board anonymous to shield them against pressure or even for their safety. For example, when trials were conducted in San Francisco for HIV/AIDS research, the board was confidential to protect members from patients desperate for treatment, said Susan Ellenberg, a professor of biostatistics, medical ethics, and health policy at the University of Pennsylvania, who's written extensively on the history of DSMBs. If approached by a patient, it, quote, would be very hard to tell you, oh, I can't help you. It's an unreasonable burden, said Ellenberg, who said she was involved in coronavirus-related safety boards but would not name them. I thought that was interesting. I mean, I don't know how many people are really like, oh, please help me with my coronavirus. Please do something with the vaccine. I don't know.
Not me. I mean, they're out there.
I guess, but I think most people are asking for that to bring back like normal. They're not really asking for it to like save someone they know or you know.
Yeah. You might have to give. I'm kind of losing the plot a little bit on this article.
I mean, the whole idea is that there's a group of people that are deciding what company is going to win, basically. I mean, it's pretty much the title, and they're really just going through a lot of shenanigans as to what the reasons why. And I think I read you the main. I had it highlighted.
It seems as though there's a conflict of interest within this committee.
Yeah, within the committee, and they're questioning it, but then they're trying to say, of course, NBC News, trying to suggest that it's all on the up and up.
It's all fine.
It's all fine. You're going to be fine. And of course, hey, you know, we can't.
Nothing to see here, folks.
We're not going to let the patients ask, you know, these people on the board, because then the people on the board would have to say, I can't help you. It's an unreasonable burden that these people on the board have to face. That's their logic.
We're just putting ourselves on a pedestal as the most important human beings in the world, making these decisions about the vaccine that they're going to, you know, shoot from helicopters to, you know, get in every single human on Earth. But it's just too much of a burden to answer your questions.
So
I know you may be
ridiculous.
wondering what our thinking is on how we're going to machine gun everyone with flying tranquilizer darts full of vaccines. But don't ask questions. It's too much of a burden.
So it says DSMB members or their family members should have no professional, proprietary, or financial relationship with the sponsoring companies, and the NIAID DSMB executive secretary vetted all members for potential conflicts of interest. NIAID said in response to questions from KHN, members are paid $200 per meeting. Ooh, $200. I'd be mad about that. I'd be all, give me $20K or I'm talking.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like enough.
But yeah, I mean, you know, they say all those things, but it's just a whole. The whole thing seems a little shaky and shady to me. They mentioned the BARPA or BARDA, the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, that reviews the DSMB recommendations. So yeah, more government oversight there. I don't know. It's just it feels like a cesspool of just.
Well, you know what this harkens back to for me is the Obama death panels.
Oh yeah,
you remember that with the insurance, with the America, what was it? The CARES Act. And they had a panel of people deciding who would live and who would die.
Yeah.
Who gets the insurance payouts and who doesn't.
I don't think it was CARES Act, but it might have been. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to look it up here. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, it's just a group of people, and it's all government oversight saying, "Oh, it's all good. It's okay. There's no conflict of interest." Our conflict of interest group made sure that there's no conflict of interest. So,
who we appointed. From the chat, Del Casio says, so I work with cardiothoracic surgeons. Mm-hmm. We had a talk the other day that they will not be taking an experimental vaccine released in the next year. I thought that was very interesting from a mostly secular point of view, talking about the dangers and damage the vaccines are doing to the volunteers, including the spinal damage. Yeah, so you've got some actual cardiothoracic surgeons, secular ones, saying they're not down.
Yeah, you know, that's really kind of the last line of defense for the people. Like the last hope is that these independent doctors are willing to, the real doctors, not like I'm going to say this, not Asian doctors that became doctors to please their parents, but like doctors that actually want to help people. Because I'm telling you, a lot of Asian doctors,
Yeah.
a lot of people that become doctors within Asian
He's
families.
saying it, not
I'm
me,
saying
folks.
it. I'm saying it. Okay. Not
you
all.
can email face like the sun.
Not all. I'm saying some.
facelikethesun.com.
And as a partially as a joke, but also
Yeah.
kind of true, is that, when parents say like, "Hey, be a doctor," to like to their kids in Asian families, it's not really to help people. They're not. They don't want you to be a doctor to help people. They want you to be a doctor so you have the doctor name.
Bring honor to your family.
Yeah, to bring honor to the family. It's had nothing to do with helping people. So those people are more susceptible to like buy the lie so they can get more money in their pockets. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, and yeah, I mean, of course, we've already seen it. It's been happening for 8 months now. A doctor will come out and say something against the official narrative, and they get shut down and deplatformed and shunned and besmirched. And so, unfortunately, we're in a situation where all these doctors, they're not going to get the vaccine, and they're only, going to be giving them or recommending them because they're forced to. And if they speak out against it, they're canceled, basically. Canceled.
Yeah, I know. So it's very financially driven, which is still the scary part. But it's all on worldview too. I mean, if you're a Bill Gates fan, then you're going to hear this, and
we're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein, right into the vein, right into
the vein.
Dr. Bill, when do I get the needle to shoot them in the veins of children?
Daddy
we
Gates.
will do it. We will do it ASAP,
All right.
Doctor.
Well, that's interesting.
Dr.
Let's
Bill.
keep an eye on those new death panels.
The new death panels, yeah. The Trump death panels, we're going to call them. All right, one more quick thing here.
I'm out of stories. So what do you got, Mr. Nephilim?
We got a misdirection Nephilim update.
Nephilim update.
This got me all spiced up, and then I was very disappointed. Variety.com, director Geronimo Quevedo on
setting expectations.
I'm keeping it very low, yeah. On San Sebastian, work in progress, title, The Fossilized Remains. Whoa, what are we talking about? Producer Juan Segundo Alamos was in San Sebastian to showcase Los Restos Fosiles, The Fossilized Remains, the debut feature film from award-winning Argentinian director Geronimo Quevedo. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the movie has nothing to do with like actual fossilized remains. It's like a political movie about Argentinians, and I was very disappointed. The filmmakers were invited to San Sebastian to compete for 2 prizes, the WP Latam Industry Award, bestowed by the company's Ad Hoc Studios, Deluxe Dolby, Laserfilm Cine Video, Nephilim Producciones.
Nephilim update.
So it's a misdirection because it really has nothing to do.
We've heard of Nephilim Producciones.
I know,
before.
we mentioned it before, and I was hoping for more, especially in a film called The Fossilized Remains. And but no, nothing to do with the giants or the Nephilim, but also spiritually maybe so, because they're trying to subtly get political. Maybe the Nephilim are trying to get political. Maybe
So
politics
subtle.
in general is just Nephilim.
Well,
The whole
we know
thing.
that already.
Yeah,
we
that's
already know that. Okay, well, before we go into the end of the show here, when I was reading reviews, I forgot to read reviews from Canary Cry Radio. For those who don't know, Canary Cry Radio, totally different show. Go subscribe to it. Also, and while you're at it, subscribe to Canary Cry News Talk. Despite our increasing popularity with these live streams, the podcast downloads have not followed that trend. So if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to Canary Cry Radio and Canary Cry News Talk on your favorite podcast player. We are there. Subscribe, listen, go. Here are some reviews from, again, Small One, a 5-star review. give it a listen. This podcast is full of inside jokes that you can be a part of. Ever wanted a whole bunch of new friends in one afternoon? This is the show for you.
All right.
Feel left out? Think you're just weird or random for normal people? Leave the normies behind and join us. I think that's a great description. Inside jokes. I always questioned why some people didn't keep listening to the show, and then I realized there are lots of like jokes you gotta catch up on before you're fully integrated. But if you stick with it, you'll be with it for a while. Then there was a 5-star review from Russell 4, who said, "Listen, found the Canary Cry News Talk, Gons, from No Agenda show."
Ooh.
Wow, we actually got a listener from our No Agenda show appearances. And now I'm going back through every single Canary Cry Radio episode. Love you guys. Great. Thank you very much, Russell 4. That's great. All right. Anything else before we close it out here, Gonzo?
No affiliation. Kutz one in the chat says no affiliation with Karen Cry Radio.
Nope.
And with that,
that would be a great spin-off show.
It would. We should just Karen Cry News Talk.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Now, keep in mind, we're going to be back on Monday, which will be the 28th.
Oh, my gosh.
Monday, I know.
We're
just
going
keeps
through
moving.
September.
Time keeps moving. So make sure to turn on notifications. Follow us in multiple different platforms, because that's the only way to make sure that you're going to get notifications. We'll be going live sometime between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure to put that on your calendar. Invite your friends. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be back, so have a great weekend. Now, remember us and our value for value model for next episode on Monday. We'll need some more producers. Remember, you can go to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. You can sign up there. There's all sorts of fun levels and different rewards and things. But most of all, an investment in your producership is an investment in your own media future. You saw The Social Dilemma. You know what's going on. You saw Joe Rogan apologize for stating objective facts because his advertisers and his Spotify overlords made him, apologize. That's not the case here because of the value for value model and because of the generosity and participation of our producers. We are able to tell the truth without having to apologize. We apologize for other things, but not for telling the truth. And again, we don't believe in selling you your attention and your trust to advertisers for our own personal gain. And so you can become a producer, keep the media that you believe in going, invest in your own future, become a producer. If you've been thinking about it, now's the time. You've got a couple days until Monday. So thank you very much. That's patreon.com/CCNT or canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. You got PayPal options, cryptocurrency options. Check it out. Also, a lot of good info there. There's a good if you want to really feel our heart or listen to our heart about the value for value model, canarycryradio.com/support has a great breakdown of it that Gon's put up there for you. So make sure to do that. Leave ratings and reviews. This was the best day of ratings and reviews ever. So thank you very much. We'll be reading ratings and reviews next Friday. So just search Apple Podcasts, Canary Cry News Talk on your search bar there and leave a rating and a review. We'll read that next week. Remember, you can become a producer by creating art, show-themed art, and jingles and things like that, send all of that to canarycryradio@gmail.com, and you can continue to make the breaks much more fun than if we didn't have that art and those jingles and those songs. Musicians out there, you can write a Canary Cry themed song. We'll be playing the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the show. And most of all, remember, the best way to help the show is to spread it around. Let your friends know. You got people in your life, friends, family, Uncle Joe. They're starting to wake up and realize that the world is not what it seems. Somebody send this to Joe Biden, please. And you can help them along that journey by sending them an episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, we'll be reading. That's why we read from the sources that we do, because they are the sources that the people who are waking up are used to reading. We're not, weird conspiracy blogs. We are taking the news straight from their own outlets and showing them how it is deceptive, manipulative, and overall not good for their health. So send them an episode, spread it around. We appreciate that. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah, everybody. All right, Gonzo, any last words?
No, nope. I'm very tired.
Nope.
I'm very.
I know, it's nap time. Nap time for both of us. I've been listening to my cat bonk his head on walls as we do that. Guy. Praise God, he's still alive. I know, near-death experience.
You should get him a little helmet. Little kitty helmet.
He needs it. He really does.
With googly eyes.
I fear the more that... Oh, that's cute. The more he bonks his head, the more he's going to keep bonking his head. All right, everybody. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Are you ready to become cat?
Look it up.
Can't deal with it right now, Basil. Hallelujah.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Bye.
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone!
I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
On my color TV, none of the snooze is what I want to see.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. People's zoo.